All right, you guys, we are gonna do a full transformation today. I have to get ready to go out to dinner, and I figured I've never really done like a full get ready with me, like skincare, makeup, outfit, all that. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I figured we'll start with skincare. So I'm going to wash my face first with the Avene Cream face wash. This is typically what I use during the day or in the morning. Then I typically go in with some kind of toner. It kind of depends, I switch it up, but the one I'm using, kind of trying out right now, is this one from M61. It's the Power Glow Toner. I think M61 is Blue Mercury's like in-house brand. I got this in like a little free gift, so I've been testing it out. So I'm using it on my makeup eraser, little mini, and just applying this. And I usually just focus this on my T-zone. So really just my forehead, in between my eyebrows, and really on the sides of my nose, because that's where, if I'm gonna get like any type of clogged pores or anything, that's typically where I get it. And then on my chin. And then I usually kind of go around my jawline. And then I usually like to kind of let it sit for, or kind of absorb in when I have time. Okay, then one of my favorite things ever is the CosRX Snail Mucin. I'm actually almost getting to the bottom of this. I use this every day with the Avene spray. So I just spray my face with that, and then I usually do 2 pumps of the Snail Mucin. And I'm gonna use the Summer Fridays eye cream. This is the Light Aura one. I'm almost out of this actually. I still use another eye cream before I go in and do my makeup, but this is the one that I usually apply when I do my skincare. I really like it. And then I do a vitamin C. So the one I've been using for a while is the First Aid Beauty 10% vitamin C. I've been testing this out and I really like this. It does not burn my skin or anything weird. Okay, and then now I just do a moisturizer. This one also switches up pretty much every day, but I want to use this Farmacy Halo Glow. I really like this one. Sometimes I just use the CeraVe lotion, just the daily lotion during the day. I really like that one too. All right, then I like to just let my skincare sit for a while before I move on to makeup. So I'm gonna do that, and then we will go start the makeup. All right, let's get into the makeup. So this is the first video I'm filming since my hair has been dark. So this is the first time like really doing my makeup with my dark hair. This is basically what I did was the color I had before, so those like blonde pieces, we just toned them a really dark shade. And I also haven't washed my hair since then because I try to let hair color sit for a while before I wash it. So I have a feeling it might look a little bit lighter when I do wash my hair, but anyway, this is what my hair looks like right now. It's very dark. but it's pretty close to my natural hair color. I'm gonna try to just keep it out of my face with a headband. I'm still like getting used to how I look with the dark hair. It's so funny. All right, let's do some sunscreen, even though I am going to dinner pretty late. So there's not gonna be much sun, but we're gonna add it anyway. And before I do that, I'm gonna add just a little bit of this Banana Bright eye cream. I don't really need to do this since I just applied eye cream earlier like you saw, but I always do this before I apply makeup. I just feel like it helps everything go on a little bit better. And then while that's kind of setting down, I'm going to use Dermatology today for sunscreen just because it's my favorite and I know that it does well under makeup. Let's get into the makeup. This is probably going to be a long video. Just FYI, I left a ton of time for me to sit and film this before I go out to dinner, so I could really take my time just because it's fun. So I'm thinking, okay, actually, before we do anything, let's talk about the palette that you guys wanted me to use. The Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction was your choice. I put this on my community page or tab on my channel and asked what you guys wanted to see, and this one won by, I think it was like 40%. The next one was the Glam palette from Natasha Denona. I think that one had like 30%, and then the gold palette was around like 20%, and then the poor little Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette was like 10% or something like that. Anyway, we're gonna go with this, but I am gonna do videos with the other palettes too. I just wanted you guys to pick the one that I used today because I want to go a little bit glammy. I don't know how dark we're gonna go, but I'm gonna try not to do what I always do. I'm gonna try to step out just a little bit, but I also am leaving the house and going to dinner and I want to feel good about what I'm doing, so we will see what happens. But before we go in with anything, I'm going to apply a little bit of the Patrick Ta Brow Lamination Gel before I put anything on my face. I'm kind of getting back into using this. And then, I don't know, I feel like I should do my eyes first, but doing eyes first just always feels so wrong, but then you can always clean up what you're doing when you do your eyes first, so I don't know. All right, we're gonna do the eyes first, so I zoomed you in. We're gonna prime first with this Smashbox Photo Finish Lid Primer in the shade Light. I'm gonna put this all over since we're gonna do more than I typically do on my eyes, so gotta make sure they are nice and primed. I really don't love doing eyes first, like I was saying, but I feel like I kind of need to know what I have going on the eyes to decide what I'm going to use for blush and a lip color and all that. So we're going to do eyes first, even though that does not feel right to me. I'm also going to use some of the shimmer shades, obviously in the Pat McGrath palette, and I do know that they have some fallout typically, so this way at least I can kind of clean it up. Okay, I've been sitting here trying to decide what I'm gonna do and I don't know, so we're just gonna go for it because I feel like you just can't plan sometimes. So the hardest thing for me with this palette is the three mattes in here are not like typical first shades for me. They're all kind of dark. But I think I'm gonna go with this one. So this kind of peachy brown, I guess you could say. And I'm just gonna use a fluffy eyeshadow brush for this. And I'm gonna start putting this in the crease and just kind of blending all over. If I could change one thing about this palette, I think it would be, I wish this color was a little bit lighter and a little more of like a transitional type shade, not so deep and kind of red toned, but we can make it work. I was actually kind of surprised that this was the palette that you guys chose. For some reason, I thought the gold palette was gonna win, but I guess maybe people aren't as interested in that one now that you can't get it. But yeah, for some reason, I thought the gold palette from Natasha Denona would win. But this one was the pretty clear winner from the very beginning when I posted that. Probably because this is the most new of the ones that I posted. So I'm just going back and forth with this because y'all know me. I like to start with something more diffused. I do not like to go in super intensely. I just find it's really hard to get things to blend that way. Also, of course, right when I started filming this, my husband went out in the garage and he has an erg machine. It's like a rowing machine, if you know what that is. And he went out there to work out and started his little Bluetooth speaker, and of course I can hear it all the way up here. I went down there and tried to get him to turn it down, and he did, but I still feel like you can hear it, so I'm sorry if you hear that in the background. I'll try to like edit it out, but if you hear something, that's what it is. All right, let's go into this deep brown. So this is a very dark, cool toned brown. I'm going to use the BK Beauty 202 brush, and I'm going to add a good bit of this shade in the outer corner, and I'm kind of keeping, or I am keeping my eye open. This brown, and I remember saying this in the Pat McGrath video I did when this palette came out, this brown really shocked me just because it blends really well for a brown this deep. A lot of times browns go on a little bit patchy and you kind of have to work with them a lot, but this one is pretty good. I'm going to take that brush we used for the first shade and kind of go around and blend a little bit. I think I'm going to go in with this shade. I actually don't think I used this shade in my first video I did with this palette, but this gold down here, it's not one of the special shades, it's just like a metallic gold. And let's see here. I'm going to try it with a brush, but I almost always end up going in with my finger or something with this type of shade, but I'm gonna get some on this little BK Beauty A505 brush. And okay, so it does work if you spray the brush. And I'm just gonna kind of tap this in the center of my lid. Go in and add a little bit more. Honestly, this is the kind of shade I would typically use my finger, but I figured we'd try using a brush first. I'm gonna try adding a little bit more with my finger. Yeah, I just feel like these work the best when you tap them on. All right, now I'm gonna go in with this really light, bright shade. This is like the same finish as that shade we just used. And I'm gonna put this on the inner portion of my eye. And then I think maybe we'll like top it with one of the special shades. I don't know. But I'm just going to really tap this on, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use this brush initially, but then I'm probably going to go in and tap some on. Yeah, see how much more like impact you get when you tap these shades on? I don't know, something about brushes, even if you spray them, I just feel like they don't give you that same like intensity you get from using your finger. Now I want to use one of these special like topper shades. I just don't know which one, and I don't know if I need to put like glitter glue down or not. I think I'm going to use this one, so the yellowy gold color. This is what I want, and I'm going to tap this right in the center and kind of bring it up a little bit. Yeah, we're going real glam, I guess, to dinner, which is kind of funny because I'm really not. I mean, we're going to a nicer place, but not like super, super nice. Here's my trick. I do this a lot. I don't usually show it in videos, but I do this a lot. I take whatever powder I have. Usually a loose powder works the best. This is just a mini Laura Mercier powder. And I get it on my fluffy blending brush, and I hold it really far out, so like I'm barely touching my eye, and I'm just kind of feathering around. This is a good thing to do if you ever do eyeshadow and you feel like maybe there's one part that just is a bit overboard, or it's not blended the way you want, or anything. You can do this and it just kind of diffuses everything just a little bit, especially like along the edges, like up here. If you ever feel like you just need a little bit more blending, but you don't want to add more color, you can literally just take a powder and do this. All right, I'm not quite done with the eyes, but for right now, that's all I'm gonna do. I wanna go ahead and fill in my brows. There's no way you can't hear my husband's Bluetooth speaker. The minute I literally sit down to film this. Okay, so I'm gonna use my NYX pencil. It's so funny, ever since I got my hair done the other day, I feel like I keep looking in the mirror and I'm like taken aback for a second because it's been so long since I have seen myself with dark hair, even though this is my natural color. So when I was younger, I had very dark hair, but I feel like this is even a little bit darker than my natural color. But anyway, I just haven't seen myself with this deep color hair in a long time. So I feel like every time I look in the mirror, I'm like scared for a second. It's like you have to kind of get used to it again. Okay, so we definitely have some glitter fallout from that glittery shade, so I expected that. So I'm gonna take a makeup wipe. This is the only thing I ever use a makeup wipe for. I'm not a makeup wipe fan at all, but I do like them for this because you can go in and try to remove some of the glitter. Although I will say the Pat McGrath glitter. I remember this from when I did that video. But the Pat McGrath glitter is or glitter in general is kind of hard to get rid of. Like even if you have a makeup wipe like this, sometimes there are just parts of it that like don't want to. They just don't want to go away. It's like they just stick. All right, let's move on to the face. I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Step 1 primer on my cheeks. And then I usually put just a little on the sides of my nose also. And I'm going to use this foundation brush from Smashbox. This has been the brush I really liked for primer. So I'm just going to apply this in the areas where I have any redness on my face, which is really just this area. And I'm using a brush just so I don't irritate my face by rubbing on it. All right, I gave the primer probably like 5 or 7 minutes to kind of sink in. And now we're gonna move on to one of the best parts, which is color corrector. I'm gonna use the one from EXA today in the shade Peach. And I'm gonna start by applying it here. And I am gonna apply a little bit in this outer corner because I do tend to get discoloration out there anyway, and especially since we have this darkness in the outer corner of the eye. I want to make sure I kind of brighten or correct that. So I'm going to take a small brush as always and just lightly tap this in, and you will see the difference that this makes. I mean, look at that. This corrector is so good, you guys. This might even be like, this is a bold statement for me, but this might be my new favorite. It is so good, and I don't know what's going on with it at Ulta. They did have it online, and I actually got mine in store at Ulta, but the last few times I've gone to link it online, they only have a few of the colors now, and this one is not one of them. They have, I think it's the green one, the yellow one, and then like a really dark reddish orange one. And like the others aren't even listed as options, as being out of stock or anything. They're just not listed at all. So I don't know what that means, but I hope Ulta keeps selling it, because the only other places I know of that sell this brand are Credo Beauty online, and then I think EXA has their own website. I'm sure they do. But other than that, I don't know where you can buy this brand. But this, so good. Okay, for foundation, I am going to use NARS Light Reflecting because this one just never lets me down. It always looks good, and we're going to go with this one. So I have the shade Deauville. I typically kind of dot it on my face, but I still feel like I have glitter. Like I cannot get rid of the glitter on my hands from that palette. So I'm going to grab some directly on my brush. This is actually a Smashbox blurring foundation brush. Another one of my favorites. And I'm just going to start applying this in the center of my face where I need the most product. Yeah, this foundation is so beautiful. This one is more coverage, I would say, than the Patrick Ta one. Even if you build up the Patrick Ta foundation, I think it's still a pretty light medium coverage. This one from NARS is really good coverage. Also think this color is a really good match for me right now. I don't have really any self-tan on right now, so this one is a good match for me. And then I'm gonna take a damp sponge and just lightly tap around my face just to make sure everything is nice and blended. For concealer, I'm gonna use this one from One Size. This is the Turn Up the Base Butter Silk Concealer in light number 3. This was my favorite for a while when it came out. It's very full coverage, so I'm gonna try to keep it kind of toned down because I don't want to go in with too much. You can always add more, but it's very hard to take away. And this concealer, the one thing I know for sure about it is it dries pretty quickly, so you have to work pretty quickly. It's not one that you can just leave to kind of sit for very long because it does start to dry. Make sure to get it on this very outer corner. Okay, and then I'm gonna spray my face. I'm using the Milk Hydro Grip. All right, we're gonna go in with some bronzer now. I'm gonna use the cream bronzer from Makeup by Mario, the Soft Sculpt Stick. And I'm gonna get some directly on my brush. This is just a Sephora 56 brush. I'm gonna kind of saturate it and then, as always, kind of warm it up on the back of my hand and just start tapping this on. This is a really good cream bronzer. This is the light shade, like I said, so it's a little bit warmer of a tone. I think the next shade, light medium, is a little more cool toned. I kind of want to get that one just to have like the option because I have light medium in his Skin Enhancer. And I like that color too. It's just not quite as warm. So I'm just tapping this on because we don't want to disrupt everything we've done underneath. Also, my camera keeps dying, which means I've been filming for a long time. I really need to get another battery for this camera for when this happens, because I hate having to like pause in between clips. This type of makeup, this type of glam takes time, you know what I mean? I could definitely do it faster if I wasn't filming, but I wanted to film this today. That's why I gave myself tons of extra time to get ready today. Okay, for blush, I think I'm gonna use Rare Beauty in the shade Hope, which is a really pretty pinky nude, but it has a little bit of like a mauve-y undertone to it. But I feel like it'll look pretty with this look. And I'm gonna use the brush I've been using a ton, which is the Real Techniques brush, the Tapered Cheek. And just lightly kind of tap this on. Do the same thing on the other side. And just tap it on. This is definitely the best way that I found to apply these Rare Beauty blushes. I just feel like this is the most mistake-proof way, because you don't really have to worry about it too much because you've kind of already worked in the product onto the brush. Every time I go in and apply like a dot on my face, I feel like it's just too much. And then I'm going back in with my sponge again and just kind of tapping over everything. All right, now we're gonna move on to some powder because we definitely need some powder, and we're gonna use the Givenchy powder today. I feel like glam makeup definitely means I can use this powder. So I'm gonna kind of set normally, or where I normally do, in my T-zone, and I am gonna set a little under my eyes with this also. And I'm gonna use a brush. I'm gonna use this Morphe, what is this, the A14 from the Ariel collection. But before I do that, I'm gonna take my sponge one more time, and actually not very much has creased, which is really good, but I still want to set this down. And this is the shade number 3 in the Givenchy powder. So I'm just gonna lightly tap this on. This is definitely not like an everyday kind of powder for me, but I do like to use it when I do this much makeup, because it really does just like mattify and blur the area. It's really amazing, to be honest. This is like definitely one of those products. Gets a lot of hype, but I actually think this one is worth it. It literally just, I don't know how it does it, but it just smooths over this area. I'm also gonna take some on my chin, and whatever is left, I'm just gonna kind of tap right in the center of my forehead here. Okay, I just added a little bit of my Dior Powder No Powder in shade 4, and I've just added a little bit of this around the perimeter of my face just to kind of go over that Makeup by Mario bronzer. Now we're gonna move on to the lower lash line, and y'all know normally I don't do a ton on the lower lash line, but I'm gonna do a little something today. So I am first gonna go in with the first shade we used, which was that reddish color. And I'm gonna use this brush from Morphe. It's the Jaclyn Hill Morphe, what is this, JH37. Just like a tiny little brush like this. And I'm taking just a little bit of that color we used, so not a lot, just a little. And just kind of feathering it under or on my bottom lash line. And then I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush. Let's see here. We'll use this one from Morphe, the A18. And I'm gonna take the brown, so the dark brown that we used, and I am gonna apply this just in this outer corner and kind of connect it up so that everything is cohesive. I'm not gonna bring this in any further because I don't want it to get like too dark. Then I'm gonna take that same little brush that we just used, and I'm gonna go over it again very lightly. I'm just using like the very tip of the bristles. And let's see here. I was gonna put a little something like glittery on the lower lash line, but I feel like we already have a lot going on the top. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. I am gonna apply a little bit of eyeliner in my waterline. I'm not doing a wing on the top of my eye because we already have like a wing shape going on, so we really don't need that. But I am gonna take this Persona Cosmetics eyeliner in black, and I'm gonna add this to my waterline, mainly focusing it like on the outer half of my eye. This is very unusual for me. I never use black eyeliner really, but I figure since we're going a little bit darker, a little bit more glammy, we'll go with black. For mascara, I'm actually gonna use this Lottie London Super Fake mascara. It's very black and it really does give a lot of separation and volume to my lashes, so I'm gonna go in with this. Look at that, it's so good. All right, and last for the lips, I'm gonna first use Pat McGrath Structure. And then I'm thinking for lipstick, I pulled out MAC Modesty, or maybe I want Honey Love. Hold on. I'm gonna go with Honey Love first, I think. Yeah. And then do I want any gloss? Maybe just like a little bit. I'm gonna use just a little Dior Lip Maximizer in the center. And I think that's it, you guys. Let me spray my face one more time. All right, I'm gonna go get dressed and I will show you the finished look with my outfit and everything, and that'll be it for the video. All right, you guys, I could not decide what to wear, so we just went with this. This is just an older little midi skirt that I have that I think came from Nordstrom, and then just a black V-neck bodysuit also from Nordstrom, and then these boots. These are like my favorite boots ever. I got them a while ago from DSW. I've worn them so many times, and that is the outfit. That's all I could come up with in like 5 minutes. My jewelry is the same as always. It's just my Majuri hoops, my Majuri Zodiac necklace, and the normal earrings I always keep in. And that is pretty much it, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you like these kinds of videos and I'll keep doing them. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.